Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're at in the world. So today we're going to talk about a feature in the NCE Power Cab system and probably the Pro Cab system as well called Function Refresh. I want to go through and kind of explain an issue that I had, a little bit of backstory, and then how to fix it. So if you want to skip me chatting for the next couple minutes, just go ahead and look at the timeline below and I will mark the solution, which is it's a 30-second solution in a 5-minute video. But if you want to know a little bit more about how this feature works and what exactly it does, then let's go over to the layout and take a look at the locomotives that are active on the track. All right, so we got two locomotives here, and I want you to pay attention to everything that's enabled on them. So it might be a bit bright because I have a light in the background. Let me see if I can adjust this a little bit. But if we take a look at 1883 here, it's got a set of ditch lights on, a headlight on with the brightness that I want set for this session, and a beacon light on top. And then for the Santa Fe 5184, we've got a headlight on and a beacon light on up top. Now both of these are sound equipped, and you'll notice they're on mute. So with that said, on my old layout, I had Bachmann Easy Track. I'm in the process of building a new layout. It's a switching layout primarily that's 10 feet long at the moment. And it has powered frogs, unlike my Easy Track that had isolated frogs. And what happens is when I throw this switch, it will change the polarity in the direction that the switch is thrown. And this is great. It's resulted in my steamers running really smooth, and some of my older picky locomotives running right through without ever stalling. But there's something I hadn't really accounted for, and that was shorts. So when, let's say I have the switch thrown this way, and I have the locomotive going in this direction, you're not going to have any issues. But if you have a loco backing up down here and it hits this throw bar, then what happens is because the frog is set for polarity going in this direction, it'll cause a short, the system goes down, NCE will take a couple seconds to protect your layout, it'll boot back up again, and now all your functions are disabled. The lights are off, the ditch lights are off, and what I had to do, or at least I thought I had to do, was to go to each one of these locos that I was in the middle of, running, turn the ditch lights back on, put the sound back on to where I wanted. And I thought, wouldn't it be a great idea if they could just send the function signals back down the track and get it back to where where it was when I was having my operating session? And as it turns out, this is not an original idea. It's already built in to the Power Cab, and I've enabled it. I'll show you how to do it in just a second, but let's simulate a short and I'll show you what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the layout off. And typically when you turn it back on, everything would be off and you'd have to go one by one and turn on all the functions. So there's still one step, but it's not as bad. So we're going to wait for the system to boot up now. I ever thought we'd get to a point we had to wait for your train system to boot up. Okay, so the locomotives are booted up, the system's back online, and you'll notice everything's turned off and the sound is on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and find locomotive 1883, which is this orange one. And I'm going to set it to a speed step of 1. Okay, and then we'll find locomotive 5184. We'll do the same thing. And what you notice happened is the moment the Power Cab got in contact with these locomotives again and a signal was sent through the track, it restored everything back to where it was, like it was when we started this video. So the ditch lights are back on, the headlights on, the beacon lights on, and same thing for this guy over here, and the sound has been muted, which is how I had it set during my my session because I'm burning the midline oil here. And that is much faster than going to each train individually and turning everything back on, and it's kind of a buzzkill. So, and keep in mind, this will work even if you shut down your layout for the evening and come back in the morning. So let's go take a look again at the Power Cab, and I'll show you how to set this up. Okay, so the setup is super simple. You're just going to go down here to the escape key, and we're going to go ahead and find set cab params. Actually, that's not right. We're going to go to set command station. Sorry about that. You're going to go ahead and hit enter. And it's going to tell you the version number, and you're going to go to the very last setting. So go ahead and hit enter and skip through all of these until you get to function refresh enable. Now by default, this is turned off. So you just go ahead and hit 1. And it'll ask you if you want to reset the system. You can if you want to, or just I'm going to go ahead and click enter here, and then I'll escape out of it, and that will be saved. And now what will happen is if you look at 5184 up here, it's got the light turned on and the beacon light turned on, which is function number 6. What happens is the power goes out and it turns back on, rather than what would normally happen with those functions enabled but not actually displaying on the layout itself. The moment you send any command, send it, I just do a speed step of 1, it'll resend all those functions, and your trains will go back to normal. It's pretty cool. Now, there's an asterisk to this, and that is it will only restore the locos that are in your recall button. So if, for example, you have your recall set to 1 locomotive, then when the system comes back, it will only restore the functions to that. So I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, I got 5 locomotives on my layout, and I typically run 3 at any one time. And so I have 3 in my system. So I got 5184, 1883, and 7009, which is a steamer. And those will have their functions restored. The other locomotives, unfortunately, will just you'll have to go back in and reset them. So if you had 5 locos and you put them all in your recall, they'll all come back restored. So it's kind of just a matter of practicality and how many recalls you want to have active in your power cab. So pretty cool stuff. And a really, really good idea. So I'm sure Digitrax has something similar, but I am not familiar with their system. I chose NCE because I just don't want to learn a whole bunch of new stuff. And this is, I got to be honest, it's pretty idiot proof. And it's really, really nice when you just want to jump in and go. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, comment below. I'll do my best to help you out since I'm learning too. And if there's any downsides to this that I'm not aware of, by all means, let me know. Otherwise, hopefully you found this useful, and I'll see you on the next video.